And we are live with another episode of Comic Talk. It's that show brought to you by The Key where we talk about this week's new comic book releases. For those of you who don't know, new DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Indie Comics all come out on Wednesdays at your local comic shop. Go to comicshoplocator.com to find a comic shop near you. But they all come out on Wednesdays, and we're here on a Thursday, like 24 hours later, to essentially have read as much as we could in 24 hours to talk about everything that came out this week. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and if you're watching us on youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show, or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. But however you guys are digesting us, thank you so much for that. Let us know you're out there. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review, do your thing. If you can see us live, you can see who our guests are, and if you're listening to the podcast, you can't. So let me introduce them. First up, we got Ambrosha, aka Comics and Cupcakes. Ambrosia, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. I was looking at your reading list for this week.
Yeah, it's kind of not as cool.
It's not about that. I just thought it was just all Marvel.
It is. Yeah, I realized that. Oh, I read mostly Marvel. And that makes sense because that's what I read a lot in high school. So I kind of just transferred it over.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like DC, because I do read DC too.
I mean, I'm not yucking your yum. You like Marvel. You like Marvel.
I don't know, man. It kind of felt like you were yucking something.
Yeah, there's no yuck involved. I'm absolutely
no yuck involved.
No, I am anti-yuckage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds it's good. Like the new anti-venom, but cool.
I mean, we'll talk about it. I did read that.
Yeah. Let's say.
But I'm glad to have you on, Ambrosia.
No, thanks for having us.
Also, we got Manny, aka Manny Reads Comics. Manny, how you doing?
Doing all right. I'm over here talking before I'm even introduced, so people are like, "Who's this guy talking right now?
Like, who's that voice?
Why is that guy talking?" No, I'm excited to be here. Talk a little bit of Marvel. Be your indie guy a little bit. Not the best indie week, but I'll still be here for it.
Look, I'm gonna have you no matter what. All right, indies or not.
Yeah.
But you do have a good amount of indies, and by indies, for anyone out there, we mean like not the big two. They're not DC, not Marvel, but
yep.
Image and Boom Studios and Dynamite and all those good guys out there. But I am interested in your guys' reading lists for this week. So, we got to go over that. I'm still prepping images. If anyone's watching us live, you can see all the images and you can see us, and I put up the cover art and everything, but I'm still prepping that. But we can just go over what we read. What were you going to say?
If you're prepping anything for like Napalm Lullaby, which is an Image Comics book, don't worry about it. I'm not going to talk about that. I didn't read it.
Okay.
I threw it in the trash. I did not want to read it.
Oh, really?
But yeah, it's just one of those. I thought I had already removed it from my pull list, and then when I realized it was still there, and I gave you that list, I was like, oh, no, that series, in my opinion, that series is trash and not for me. Because I'm pretty sure it's Rick Remender who writes it, and he's a great writer. It's not this series. Maybe this is just one of his 9 out of 10. This is 1 out of 10. So
oof, it was that bad.
Unfortunately, yeah. But the art is great. So
yeah, I mean that's fair. I didn't read it. I think I started it because you recommended the first issue. I think I read the first issue.
It started off strong, yeah, but no.
Yeah, it wasn't for me
great.
either.
Right, I can go down my list to see what I did read.
Let's talk about what you did read.
the positives.
Yeah.
I read Absolute Superman #5, DC Comics, All New Venom #4, Amazing Spider-Man 69, Batman and Robin 19, Rogue Sun 25, Transformers 18, Void Rifles 17. So 7 books. That's not bad. That's easy to read in 24 hours.
Yeah. I mean, look, I am never going to get on anyone's back. You guys are on this show because you guys know a lot and you read a lot. And even if we read 3 comics a week, we're still reading more than most people anyway.
Oh, yeah. No.
But all right, cool. Ambrosia, what's your list?
Let's see. Well, first off, thank you. You always make me feel better for not reading as much as like but I wanted to, so thank you. I read Amazing Spider-Man issue number 69, X-Men issue number 13, Phoenix issue number 9, All New Venom issue number 4, Alien Paradiso issue number 4, and Star Wars Legacy of Vader issue number 2.
That's a good amount.
Yeah, it's 6. Yeah, not terrible. But that was my entire. I was very proud because I read everything in my pull list this week, which typically doesn't ever happen. But then I realized that my pull list was just really small.
Yeah. Why
And
can I needle you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you have any DC stuff on your list?
So I pick and choose a lot, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Typically, when I do read DC, I read like House of Lakes or a lot of the Black Label stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
I read a lot of Black Label.
Are you not reading the absolute DC books?
No.
We talk
Should I
about
be?
it all the time on the show. Have we not talked about it?
No, not since I've been on, or not any of the ones I'm on.
Are you just randomly on episodes that we don't have like absolute books that come out?
Maybe.
Okay.
Or
interesting.
maybe I don't know. Do I need to be reading absolutes?
Manny,
Yeah,
I'll let you take it.
Oh no.
I'll say definitely at least the top three, which is most of the books right now. But Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, those are the best from the absolute. I know that Green Lantern is either coming out soon or is about to come out. Green Arrow, I think, and Flash. Haven't
Green
read
Lantern,
those
Flash, Martian Manhunter. I think those are the three.
Martian Manhunter. There we go. Yeah.
Cool.
But they have been great. Like whatever you think you know, it's not even half of that. It's a completely new story. So
Oh, that's
um,
wonderful.
yeah. So and I will kind of go into spoilers with Absolute Superman today, but
Is that your pick of the week?
definitely pick him up. It is my pick of the week. I said it was gonna be Rogue Sun 25, but it was in my top three.
Okay,
And I
real quick,
I
I'm
just
gonna
mixed it
give
up.
my reading list. Then let's talk about Absolute Superman 5.
Ooh, yes.
My reading list: Amazing Spider-Man 69, X-Men 13, All New Venom 4, Alien Paradiso 4, Absolute Superman 5, Action Comics 1084, Deadpool 12, X Factor 8, Aquaman 3, Redcoat 10, Green Lantern Corps 2, DC vs. Vampires World War V 7, Helverine 4, Sabretooth the Dead Don't Talk 4, and Jupiter's Legacy Finale 5.
You got through a lot. Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm trying to not read them all on Thursday. I'm trying to like split them up a little bit, but get some done on Thursday, but most done on Wednesday. You know, it just depends. I'm trying to split it up so it's more bite size. But sometimes
that's
I
fabulous.
get tired.
Oh, good job.
Thanks. I'm sure we all got picks of the week, but Manny, let's start off with Absolute Superman.
Well, this is I want to say it was the last part of this first arc, right? It finally finishes kind of the story. Oh, you know what? I don't know.
It might be the beginning of a new arc or like an intermediary part, right?
It might be like the chapter right before the last chapter of the arc. I don't know. But this goes into the story of um Superman. His name is Kal, right? I don't know if anyone's actually called him Clark in this yet, but um just to let you know, like I said, everything is different from this world. So in this world, he was not a baby when Krypton blew up. He was like what 12, 13, 14 years old
Yeah.
ish. He had both his parents. They made the ship. They were able to pull like a whole group of people to save from Krypton before it blew up.
Yeah.
Um,
And we don't know
and
who lived and who died.
yeah, that's kind of like the ending of it. Like it explodes and people get separated, but we don't know who's out there. You know, he survived, so the case being that there's somebody else that survived might be there. But we get that. We also get a flash forward because the what we see from his Krypton days, that's a flashback. But his current day, he is fighting his demons to not kill this Agent Smith, who's a peacemaker who just killed some civilians because they laughed at him. Like they simply laughed at him And so they went on a killing spree, and he did not appreciate that. He being Kal-El,
Yeah.
and he's on a hunt to find him. And in that hunt, he discovers that the Brainiac system exists, and his like AI system, I guess. I'm not sure how to explain that
S-
part of his
So
to
let's
it's like an
rewind
AI,
just a little bit
like
because I feel like it
I
might be
know, like
overwhelming
I'm
for
I'm
Ambrosia.
talking so much. I'm
I
only talking about episode 5 or issue
Yeah.
5.
Well, here's the thing about the absolute DC universe, and this is for Ambrosia and this is for everybody else, is that like it's a
thanks.
new beginning of stories in a separate DC universe. Now, the way the universes differ is that obviously it's a new start, sure, but also it's a universe defined by struggle and corruption. Not in a edgy like you would think it's in an edgy way, and some of it is edgy, but it's more of just like I personally think my theory is kind of not theory, but like the theme I think is that the universe of corruption and struggle is our universe in a way. And that like the main DC universe is like good guys always win. But in this absolute DC universe, it's not that good guys always win, it's that good guys have to work double hard to even like make any progress. And I feel in a more negative view that that could be like real life, you know?
Yeah.
And so like there's small twists with Superman, a small twist with Batman, a small twist with Wonder Woman that like keeps their soul but gives them different circumstances. And that I think is the pitch of Absolute DC.
That's good.
So
So
this
which one
Superman,
are you? Have you been reading all of them?
yeah.
Which ones have been your favorite so far?
Manny, what would you pick between the like? How would you rank the three? Because they're all great in my opinion.
The way I listed them before: Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman.
Superman is the bottom of your list.
Yeah, I mean, Superman is just always. It, I don't mean this negatively, but it's just like Superman is Superman. Like he is who he is. He's so powerful. He's got everything really for him. Batman has to work for it, and this Batman specifically is not a rich Batman who pretends to be like a billionaire playboy or anything like that.
Yeah,
He's struggling, and like and his backstory too, like with how his dad died, is much more appealing. I just that captures me more emotionally. And the Wonder Woman, she's just been a badass. Like that whole series, like she's not taking shit from anybody. From like she is who she is. She knows who she is, and she knows like her gods. She respects her god. She respects her mom. Like everything about her has been amazing. Like there's been
but
no bad thing about her.
she's not like a killer or necessarily right. Like she's still like a beacon of love and compassion.
Oh yeah, but I would definitely say that she's still more cutthroat than Prime Wonder Woman. I would say if
Really?
they both got in a fight, I would say she's definitely greener because she's just starting off.
Yeah.
But if they've had the same experiences, I feel like she would be more cutthroat.
I think the only big difference is that Absolute Wonder Woman uses like dark magic and
Yeah.
essentially Ambrosia the I think you would like Absolute Wonder Woman. Basically the twist in the beginning is that the Amazons are nowhere to like they've disappeared. And so
Okay.
baby Wonder Woman is raised by Cersei, the witch, the evil villain in hell. So
Oh,
she lives on a small island in hell and she is raised by Cersei, who in the regular timeline would be like one of her worst enemies, but in this timeline is her mother.
interesting.
And it lends itself to like a lot of cool stuff because it's Greek mythology plus like the dark magic that comes with being a witch.
That makes sense. Also, kudos to Manny for speaking up about Superman because Superman is probably one of my least favorites because of that reason. And I always get so much not hate, but like pushback
Pushback.
for yeah. Because yeah, he's my least favorite. But it's
Well,
okay because we all have our little things, but yeah.
e- even in this, he's got everything, all the positives of Superman, plus this AI thing that does all the high level thinking for him and finds like so he's got like, all the high tech of Batman now plus being Superman. So
Kinda.
it's like he
I'm
just
gonna
got
disagree. I'm gonna
he just
push
has
back on
more.
that.
I don't
Ooh,
know, man. What does he do usually? In the last like 3 issues, he's been like, "Hey, Soul," which is what his suit is called. Do this for me. Find me this. Find me that. Go do this. Like he constantly depends on Soul, even
right.
though he's
So
Superman.
you're
He doesn't
right.
need to. Like,
Soul is this artificial intelligence that is like nanotech. It's like a nanotech cape, right? But it's his suit, right? But here's the thing: I don't know whether this Superman has powers other than what Soul provides.
no, he's been attacked a lot. Like he's shown
Without
his like
Soul, but he always
bulletproofness.
has Soul on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he has Soul on, but they've talked about him regenerating with the sun, like he's getting his like power back from the sun.
Mm.
Um, he's flown away. He's shown super strength.
Because of
I
Soul,
get.
though, it's a suit, right? Like it's the
I
suit
don't.
that's giving
I
him
don't
powers. I
know if
think.
it's Soul. I don't know if I've gotten that. Maybe I need to reread that.
I mean, maybe. I mean,
I
it's
don't.
also there's a lot of mystery involved too with all
I
of
was
these
gonna say
series.
I'm not gonna be 100% definitive on my stance on that because maybe I misread it, but I guess it could be the fact that I just assumed that Superman is being Superman and he's just got that power. But I do think they do talk about him. I mean, he's literally. I guess that goes back to being the suit. In this issue, he jumps to the moon because he's so mad and he needs to step away, right? So I was about to say, well, he's at the moon. He can't do that with it, but he's got the suit on. So
Yeah,
maybe you're right.
I don't know.
Possibly. I need it. I'm gonna reread them just because I didn't even look at them in that view.
So,
So
I mean, I'm gonna. I want to talk about Superman because I feel like growing up, people used to hate on Superman because
Oh,
it's,
really? So
yeah,
I wasn't alone?
no, but it left a bad taste in people's mouth because like there are people who hate on Superman because they don't know any better, and there are people
Hmm.
who just he isn't their favorite superhero, and he's not my favorite superhero, but I do think that like Superman needs to exist for
oh
many different
yeah,
reasons,
for
and like
sure.
some of his stories are really good. Not I can't say all of them, and I'm not yucking the yum of people who or yumming the I am yumming the yuck in a way, right? But like I feel like what people who liked Superman because I like Superman and I believe in Superman, we had to stand up for Superman against the majority of people who used to hate on Superman. And then there became this like slow switch. And it isn't that everybody loves Superman, it's that the Superman fans became more vocal. And so then people are like, well, we still don't like him. But I don't blame people for still not connecting, but I challenge them to read specific Superman books because I think
No.
it's
Oh, sorry.
well, I think Superman has a lot to offer storytelling.
And you're
Um,
100% correct because when I first I made a video about that and how Superman was my least favorite, and oh my gosh, the pushback I got. But also, it gave me an entire different perspective because I had some fabulous people who actually sent me some of like their favorite Superman trades.
mhm.
And I was able to read them and I got a whole nother perspective of it. So that was really neat to see. And this is why I will never yuck anyone's yum because I think we all connect in the things that we read for a specific reason. And so just because I can't connect with that doesn't mean like someone else doesn't. And so that's what I think I talk about this all the time, how much I love that we each have our own little um, our we're saying yuck and yums a lot today. So I'm just
Yeah,
going to continue with that. That we each have our little yucks and yums that we each connect with, which I think is cool.
yeah. Um, I yeah, I don't know. There's not much more to say. I'll get to because Manny, were you done talking about Absolute Superman
I was
5?
gonna say that's pretty much all I had to say without really spoiling too much for Ambrosia, because obviously she's gonna run to her local store now and pick up issues 1 through 5 of Absolute Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to
I'm
ruin it
I'm
for
going to
her.
be running right now as soon as we get off.
Of course, of course. So yeah, I'm done with Absolute Superman.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good, and all the Absolute books are pretty much picks of the week every single week they're out.
Yeah,
You know,
top three at least. Yeah.
Ambrosia, I want to know what your pick of the week is.
So I actually chose Amazing Spider-Man issue number 69. And part of that was because I had no idea that you're the one who informed me the last comic talk that I was on
Mhm.
that we had the 8 deaths of Spider-Man going
Yeah.
on. And they were never put into my pool. So I never it never dawned on me to look to make sure that I was getting everything.
Mhm.
So I was issues behind. And so
Okay.
I did a very quick recap of the issues that I were behind on. And this has been such a fun story. It's a nice little what is that called? Like a palette cleanser
Yeah.
from what we've had recently in Spider-Man. And I had no idea how behind like this arc I was until I picked up these issues. So I have been very much so enjoying it. So this week I did a
You binged
what's
it?
it called? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And so I felt like this one was a good place to land on.
This is the second to last issue before they start back with a new number one.
Yes.
And I like the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. I think the premise is really cool. And what they are doing with him is cool. And when it restarts, okay, I'll hop, I'll stay on Spider-Man. I know that there are people who left because of all the Spider-Man. I don't know. They didn't like the stories that were being told in Amazing Spider-Man.
Which
Yeah.
because did you read this one too, Manny?
I did. Yeah.
You read Amazing
Unfortunately, I
Spider-Man
have.
69?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that was the 5 out of 7 for me. But I don't. I just think it's like Joe Kelly's going to be the one that's going to be writing the new book coming out, and he wrote this one that came out. And it's funny because this one I feel like it's the weakest of this storyline so far, and the ones before have been written by Justina Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's a great writer so far. Like I do appreciate the story. I agree with what you were saying that the Spider-Man just hasn't been great. The Amazing Spider-Man line has not been great. This was a like you said, a palate cleanser, but it's still not what it used to be. Justina Ireland did such a good job, and then Joe Kelly comes at the end to
No,
kind
he
of,
started it. Justina
yeah,
Ireland came in a
It was
couple, and
but
then
she did like, because it's 8, let's just say it's 8, I think it's 10 issues so far, right? I'm pretty sure she did 4 or 5 of them, so she's done at least half, and her half has been good. His I don't know, man. I just like in this issue, he was like his. I know that they're demons and whatnot, but like the main villain demon guy, he was like talking about his sister, and he's like, "Man, I don't know if I should kill you or if I should marry you." And I'm like, "What?
I had
What are
that
you
as like
I
saying?"
thought
I
that
wrote
too.
that.
It was weird, but
Yes, that was
What?
like my like really big critique on that. I literally wrote like because sometimes I remembered like just will take little notes and I
And
said, can we talk about how weird it was how Calix acted how he was talking about marrying his sister.
yeah. You know what
and
it
and
seemed
like
like?
that,
It seemed like in Gladiator. You ever see Gladiator?
yeah, it's been
No.
a while.
So Joaquin Phoenix in that is like the Mad Emperor or whatever he's called, and he's constantly like being weird with his sister. I think he does say like you'll produce me an heir or something. Like I feel like they're going with a old Roman, old emperor sort of weirdness to this whole
That
thing.
was just like so out of left field because like
Yeah,
just Justina
Mm-hmm.
Ireland's like has not alluded to that. Like there
yeah.
was no allusion to that. There was not even like a tiny bit of a hint to it. And then out of nowhere, he's like, I don't know what to do with you. It's like, what? Shut up. Like, move on, man. Go fight your dad. Like, go,
No,
go,
that was
go.
like literally my biggest like ick in that
Yeah.
one. Was that do we really need that?
Yeah, it was
I,
unnecessary. I'm not standing up for it. I'm just saying that it
right.
reminded me of Gladiator.
No, very much. I mean, because what other show that everyone likes? Oh, Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's gonna do it. Yep.
Yep. So
That's
they're
all you
like
had to say.
100%. But I did like how is it Syra?
Yeah.
Yeah. How she gives up her life so that Peter can live again
Her
and set
immortality.
things right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That made me really happy.
Well, I liked it in the previous issue. I think it's the Justina Ireland issue, number 68. Because there was 68, and then there was 68 deaths.
Yeah.
And then there was 69. And 68, that was the one where Peter gives up the rest of his reeds, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that.
Well, I think it just it's such good character development, which
yeah,
it's really hard. Sometimes it's really hard to develop these characters when they've been around for like how many years. And so you know what? Maybe props to Joe Kelly because maybe he was just trying to give some more character development to Amazing Spider-Man of like, hey guys, so I heard Game of Thrones is really in right now. We're gonna try something new.
Yeah.
Probably what I was trying to do.
I do think that what's her name? Syra?
Yeah.
Let's just say. She's super hot, so I'm just I think that
so you get it.
I think yeah. I also there's rumors that Syra is in the new run.
I bet she is. I told a friend that I bet that there's going to be some kind of storyline where, oh no, her crimson essence is corrupting Peter Parker. What will he do next?
I think it's going to be a love interest.
I agree.
Oh no, I don't want that. He doesn't need any. He needs to work on himself right now. He needs he's like stringing Shay along, and that's not fair to Shay. And MJ and Paul is a whole different conversation. What he does with Felicia, like leave her alone. Let her do her thing.
No, she's fine with him just stopping by. Like that's
because she does the same thing.
Yeah.
That's true. But also
like that is like the one relationship that I'm okay with, like with what they have, because it's just like because they both are in it for the same reason.
I guess
she
does it to other people
100%, but everyone else are really his love interest. Like you could write an entire book with that alone.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Coulson in there? Like, he's just to me, he's just like randomly in the corner, just like, hey guys, I'm still here.
Well, you know the backstory with Phil Coulson and stuff, right?
No.
Yeah, I do, but go ahead and
I don't.
So basically, the Infinity Gems became people or they bonded to people, right? And that is also there was a Thanos miniseries where a girl becomes essentially like the reincarnation of Death, and essentially Death becomes an Infinity Gem, which then goes to Coulson. So Coulson is the embodiment of the Death Gem, which is Death. So because of that, he is now Death, right? And there's other Infinity Gems like the Power Stone and all those stuff. Like they're all different people. Like Colleen Wing has one of the gems, and that can be found in the comic Infinity Watch, which is out. But it's a team of human or people Infinity Gems.
That's a great explanation and everything, but like, what are you doing here? Like, why is he here? Why? I mean, other comics are dealing with death as well, and he's not just showing up saying, "Hey, here's my 2 cents." Like, out of nowhere, he's just here, and he doesn't really do anything other than, I guess, he did provide the essence of Syra to Peter Parker, but I don't know.
I think he's there to show. He's there to bridge Syra and humanity, because Phil Coulson is now essentially a god. But he was human, so he understands humans. And Syra has never been a human. And so all these questions throughout this whole run of Syra asking these questions, Coulson's been able to answer it because he knows both sides. That's what I think.
Yeah, but he's also only been a god for a little bit. He hasn't been a god for eons like her. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to fight you. It's just he's just there.
Yeah.
To me. And
that's fair.
That's another like a thumbs down on this issue for me, but
this was Ambrosia's number 1, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Um,
It's your number one.
what's my number one?
Yeah.
DC versus Vampires World War V #7.
Okay.
Again, this is the sequel series to the original DC versus Vampires, which was 12 issues. Now we're on 7 issues into the sequel series. I wasn't sure at first whether this was going to be a spin-off or a sequel. Because like Dark Knights of Steel All Winter was not a sequel, it was a spin-off. I wasn't sure whether World War V was a sequel or not. But it is a sequel, and it's kind of funny. I don't want to spoil anything per se. I do think the original 12 issues are amazing, and the twist between at the end of issue 6 of DC vs. Vampires is really good, and I would never spoil it. But in this issue, essentially, we're dealing with Darkseid coming to Earth for the first time while the vampires have taken over. And, like, it's kind of funny to see vampires be like, hey, we're the big guys. And then he kills them. And it's like, oh.
Wow.
And so there's, like, some funny moments. There's some pretty badass moments. The art by Otto Schmidt is really good. And as long as you just accept that this is a different universe, then cool. Anything can happen to anyone.
What was the Darkseid's reaction to seeing everybody as vampires? Like, just like what's going on here? I leave this place for 1 second, and like,
Yeah. He, as far as I know, in this timeline, he's never been on Earth. But
okay.
but because I don't think they know him. But who they do know is like Big Barda has been on Earth, Scott Free, Mr. Miracle has been on Earth. So they know certain people. But essentially the premise is Darkseid is coming for this prophesized baby. And the baby is prophesized being born of a human baby born of vampires, essentially. It's kind of the plot to Angel, like there's a season of Angel where they do that. So, okay, fine.
You just brought up something that I haven't thought about in so long.
Did you used to watch
Angel.
Angel?
Of course, watch Buffy and Angel the next step. Had to watch it, but I don't remember anything about it. That's the thing. I was too young to really like grasp it.
Yeah. Well, because like vampires don't have souls, so they can't give birth. They give birth. They sire offspring, right? Like they create vampires, but they can't infuse a soul from 2 soulless beings. And so that's roughly the rule in Angel and Buffy, and it seems like it's the rule here, except there is a baby born, and Darkseid's there to get it.
Do you know who the parents are?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you want to spoil it or not, but
it's Mr. Miracle and Big Barda's.
Oh, that makes sense.
And Darkseid's there to collect, quote unquote, his grandson. Is his like, because Scott isn't his blood son, but it was traded, right? So it's kind of like his grandson.
All right.
But I don't know. I'm digging it. Absolute Superman 5 was also really good too. But you picked it, so okay, I'm gonna pick something else.
I had to take it. Yeah.
What else stood out to you guys this week?
I think we all read All New Venom, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to find out who it is for the next issue. That's for sure.
Are you getting tired of it?
Oh no, I am very excited. I really hope it's Paul, because it's gonna piss me off if it's Paul, but it's also gonna make me very happy that it's Paul, because I feel like it's gonna like darken the world just a tiny little bit if it is Paul.
Wait, but why would that make you mad then?
Because I'm just a very petty person. I like to joke about this to other people that don't like Paul, and I'm like, look, Paul, not only did Paul steal MJ's Peter's girlfriend, he now stole his symbiote, and like it would just be funny to me if it's Paul.
It's not Paul's fault. Everybody gets on Paul, but Paul didn't steal MJ.
He destroyed the world and then took MJ. Yeah, no, MJ does have her part in this, of course.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't stand.
But she's
MJ,
also
so
stuck on a
absolutely.
different. She was stuck in like a different like dimension or whatever. It's not her fault. Like,
What is?
I will always blame MJ, so it was her fault.
look, I don't want to open a can of worms for all of us in like
No.
relationships, but
Yeah.
if you're stuck in an alternate dimension with no thought of like, are you gonna get back? What do you do?
No, so you have no faith in your partner. Is that what you're telling me?
That's
You
not.
don't trust your partner.
No, that's
You
not.
don't trust. So, see, this is
I'm
what I
just
mean, but I'm
saying.
petty. I'm very petty.
It's like,
No.
did you ever see Castaway?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so when Tom Hanks is on the island and he gets off the island and he goes to, I forget who it was, like Helen Hunt or something,
Yeah.
her house at the end, and I think she's like married or whatever. I don't blame her. That sucks. But also, she thought he was
He
dead.
he is not a superhero that has proven time and time again to always come through. He has not. That's two different stories. No, I don't know. I feel like she's valid in the fact that um hey, there were these two kids that needed to be taken care of. I fell in love with those kids. Those are my kids. Yes, absolutely. You adopted those kids, but you can be two guardians of these children without having a love interest in between. She should just know that how long did she spend, like 10 years or something
I think so.
in the alternate universe or whatever.
Let's say,
I
you know.
get it. I get it, but it's just why does Peter Luck have to exist like this kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it
It,
sucks,
it's
but
just,
also,
yeah.
I think I mean, it's Marvel's fault. And I get that it's fun. We all know the character's a
Mhm.
character, but like, so it's fun
Yeah,
to hate on
yeah.
Paul. But like, I don't know. Some
But
people are weird out there.
and Dylan is making it so easy to hate on Paul. He's
Yeah.
on our side. So
Yeah.
I love Dylan, so
Yeah.
I'm
he's
Team
such a
Dylan.
child. Yeah.
Let's talk about this issue because the art is so good. The art is the cleanest,
I
boldest art I've ever seen.
I
I
wish that I knew more about the Venom symbiotes in general because
Yeah.
I know that I'm missing a lot of context, like, especially with the reveal at the end. I'm like, oh, a symbiote.
That's the cat, though, right?
That
That's the same
yeah,
symbiote
I
as the cat,
I
Ambrosia?
I think
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Because I've told Ambrosia I don't like symbiotes, but
Which I'm really surprised that you're reading this.
because it's
Because
different.
you don't
It's
you don't
different. It's
like
not the
Venom, you
same.
don't like symbiotes, you don't like
I don't like Carnage. Yeah.
Carnage. Yeah. So like I was really
But
surprised
now
that
it's
you
different.
and what makes it different compared to
This
I guess it's
story
just
is
not
so different. Like, I give every Venom #1, I give it a shot. Like, on the last run,
good.
I gave it a shot. But then it got into this weird, like, I hate the
interdimensional.
idea
Yeah.
of Venom being linked through time and space to other symbiote, and like it's just like it's so dumb. It's so like I don't want all that. I just want like this
Agreed.
story is really cool to me.
I agree. And I feel like they brought in different characters than what we would typically see in a typical Venom
Yeah.
run. Because what we have like MODOK, who we don't really see. Madame, I always say Madame. It's
Madame.
mad.
Madame
I,
Mask.
Madame.
I like Madame. Same with Madame Web, just so sophisticated.
Yeah.
But no,
You
Madam.
know, do a curtsy with it, you know?
Right? It's just so fancy. I don't know why. I just read it as Madame every time. And but like also like we have our typical like toxic and like sleeper, and I like two worlds combined,
Yeah.
which is fun. No, so I could see it being different than what we typically see with symbiotes.
It also isn't lore heavy. And I know it seems like it's lore heavy, especially in this issue, like who are these symbiotes and whatnot. But like I barely remember who Toxic is or Toxin or whatever. And I'm like, okay, it's just a symbiote that has no host, right? Like, fine. It is what it is. Sleeper is the cat. And they do make a thing that they're saying there's like hostless symbiotes or whatever.
Mhm.
Like there's just like symbiotes that can survive without a host, which is the
Right.
cat and which is Flash Thompson anti-venom. Right? And so cool. Like they explain it and I'm okay with it. Pretty easy to jump in.
No, it is. And what this is supposed to be 5 issues, I think.
Fourth one.
4?
Wait, only?
Yeah, I
Like
think.
there's
Is it?
only gonna be 5 issues?
I thought so. I could be wrong.
No, I'm
I'm
seeing
wrong.
I'm
Oh
seeing
no.
up to at least up to 6.
I'm wrong. Just kidding. I was. What comic was I reading recently? And I know we were like coming to the end of it,
Two-Face.
but
Is it
maybe.
Two-Face?
Oh no, maybe it was Alien.
Oh yeah, Alien Paradiso is ending soon.
Yeah, maybe that's the one I was thinking of. Because they're both issue 4s.
Yeah, I mean I could talk about all new Venom, but like it's I am very much
It's
looking
all
forward.
new Venom, literally.
And nobody knows who's in the suit. And I like it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Alien Paradiso. Are you liking these? Because I've been reading them.
They haven't been my favorite. Remember how like we just said how sometimes you feel like it's like there's only so much you could do
Yeah.
with xenomorphs, or with like I feel like we're getting to this point, and so that's why I was kind of excited that there's only one more issue left just to like tie it up. No, it hasn't been my favorite because what was it last time we talked about Aliens and Aliens Paradiso, and I think I liked Aliens more than Paradiso.
Okay. Yeah.
Which one have you enjoyed more?
I mean, I like Paradiso, I guess, but also it's really just like where can we put the aliens next? Like, can we in this they're on a resort planet, right? Cool. Okay. Like, but what can we do? Aliens just aren't as interesting to me. Also, I'm not a fan of like I don't see the movies because I'm scared, but also but I read the comics because horror works differently in that medium, right?
Well, yeah, and same with like, like the blood and gore and stuff. Like you literally, it's different.
Yeah. Aliens just don't have any wants and desires, so it really is just like, what are the humans' wants and desires before they die a horrible death?
Oh yeah, I was just about to ask, like, do the aliens have any dialogue? Do they have any
No.
kind of like
No,
plot?
it's literally
Okay,
like they're
they
on a
always
paradise resort planet.
they're just
Like
monsters. Okay.
raptors, velociraptors are more interesting to me because they have like, you can like see
Pack,
them think.
pack
Yeah.
behavior.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why. So I think I liked Alien versus Avengers so much more.
Oh,
That's
Alien.
why.
Oh, yeah. That's really good.
I have been enjoying that so much more versus this.
Aliens versus Avengers.
Aliens vs.
All
Avengers
together.
is really good. Like, it's Jonathan Hickman writing it, and it takes place in an alternate timeline, and it's great. I mean, there's other crossovers coming out, like Wolverine vs. Predator came out, Black
What is
Panther,
that?
Black Panther vs. Predator, Spider-Man vs. Predator is coming out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but yeah. So I'm kind of over. I think this might be my last. I don't know.
It's just gonna be one more issue, right? I think.
Yep. So this will be.
Might as well.
Yeah. So I'm gonna finish the series, but I don't think I will continue with another
Alien book.
Yeah, unless it's like I don't know. I'm gonna do what you do with Venom and read the first issue and go from there.
Yeah.
It's just really hard with the like there's only so much that you could do with the alien storyline.
Yeah. Predators are more interesting to me.
I agree.
Yeah. Did you guys read Action Comics 1084?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because we were talking about Superman, and this is like main universe Superman. This is the type of story that I love from Superman. So this arc just ended. Like, it ended with this. And the premise of the arc is that, like, there are villains that Superman has tried to reform, such as Major Disaster. So Major Disaster is a villain who can, like, control, like, earthquakes and asteroids and what, like, it's like Earth elemental kind of stuff, right? The weather, I guess, in a way. Anyway, the point being is, like, he used to be bad, then he turned good and joined the Justice League for a little bit. And then in the arc starts with somebody dying by his powers, and it's like, oh, this guy killed him, right? And so Clark Kent is investigating why these villains are turning back to being bad after being, like, reformed. So there's kind of a mystery there. And, like, why do they all feel a certain way? And they're all, like, really depressed. And they're just like, I will always be a villain. And so there's that storyline, and it's been only like a couple of issues, and it just ended. It's pretty damn good. I liked it a
It's more of
lot.
a it's more of like a thinking arc than it is just like punching the bad guy and
There is
done.
punching bad guys, sure.
Sure, but that's not the main premise. Like that's not the whole
Yeah,
story.
there's a couple of things that go on with that premise. The reasoning for all this is like a science fiction reasoning. It isn't just like they lost hope. There is a
Mm.
reason for it, but it ties in with Superman wanting to inspire hope, but like having that problem. And he wants to believe people will get better. He wants to believe that like villains can reform. He doesn't want them to give up on themselves, right? And so it's kind of a mystery, and then it gets like figured out, like you figure it out after an issue or two, and then there's that plot. But I don't know, it was really good. It was solid. um I think it's, yeah, one of the better Superman stories. So if you're looking for that, um
Duly noted. Thank you.
Manny, you what else did you read?
You guys read Batman and Robin
I didn't.
19.
I read 18, but not 19.
So Ambrosia, I don't know how much you know about Batman and Robin in general, but how do you
I
feel?
know more of the Robin family lore and a lot of the I think I'm pretty like decently versed in the Batman Robin
So if I told you,
history.
hey, Robin, Damian wants to stop being Robin and he wants to lead a normal life, how do you think that Bruce Wayne would react to that? What would be your answer?
He would say, "Hell no."
Really?
I'm just
I
kidding.
don't
I
know.
don't think so. I
I
What?
just think, go ahead.
I think because Damian Wayne, he's not Nightwing, is he?
No.
No,
What?
Damien's the youngest one so
Yeah.
far. He's the real son.
Then he's gonna say, "You
The
live your
real
life.
son.
You
You
think
live your
Batman
Uh,
life,
would be
little."
supportive?
I
I think
think
so.
I think that he would be supportive to a certain extent, right? Like to make sure that everything, all bases are covered and stuff. But in this issue, it does come out that in this arc so far, Damien has discovered his grandfather on his father's side, not his mom's side, not Ra's al Ghul or anything like that. But he's starting to learn more about Bruce Wayne's dad
Thomas Wayne.
and yeah, Thomas Wayne, and taking inspiration from that. And he meets a doctor that used to work with Thomas Wayne, and it kind of inspires him to try to as well as other uh, circumstances that have happened in the series so far. But he's starting to think maybe I want to be a doctor when I grow up. Maybe I'll take after my grandfather and be a doctor. And he finally decides that's what I'm going to do. And he overhears Batman talking to, well, who was it? Jason? Yeah,
Yeah.
Jason Todd. And just saying like, oh, Damien wants to be normal, but he can't. He's not allowed. He's too good of a crime fighter to do that. And I'm not going to let him just give up his this life of crime fighting for it. And it just doesn't sound like something Batman would say about his own son.
Wasn't it
And so
misheard? Could I be
it
wrong?
was it was kind of misheard, but not really, because the only thing so he did say that, but then when Damien misheard that, he left in anger, and then Batman said Damien. One of the last things that Damien heard was Damien is not he's not bright enough for that. Like he said something along the lines of he's not gifted enough to be a doctor in a normal circumstance. But then when he left all angrily, of course, Batman says he's one of the greatest, smartest children that I've ever met in my whole entire life. Says all these accolades about him, but he's still the same. Like but he needs to be a crime fighter. He needs to use those powers for good, for the crime fighting good. And but Damien doesn't hear that. And there's just it's always with Batman and Robin, both of these, it's always a I'm angry at you, we're miscommunicating, we're misunderstanding each other, and then we resolve it. And then the next arc, I'm angry at you, we're miscommunicating, and then we resolve it. And then now we're here at this arc, and guess what? There's some miscommunication happening and they're mad at each other. And maybe they'll resolve it next issue. Who knows? But it's a good storyline, and I do really like Robin stepping out of his grandfather's shadow from his mom's side and stepping into his other grandfather's shoes. That's very interesting. I never really thought about him doing that at all. Um, Hopefully, it just doesn't end in the same way of just anger in it. So, but this issue was pretty good. It ends kind of where he is kind of faced with the fact that, you know what, you are a crime fighter, and no matter what you do, no matter what you try, even though you're trying to lead this normal life, it's gonna end up biting you in the butt again. And he has to do some crime fighting, and that's how it's like a cliffhanger ending. So, but it's a good story. Don't get me wrong. He's hitting too many cliches of Damien.
Yeah. I didn't get to read this one, but like, I'll be honest, it's kind of funny that this is the Batman and Robin series, but like, Bruce Wayne also is with Robin in the Batman series, or no, in Detective. What
Detective
is this?
Comics,
In
yeah.
Detective Comics, and so like, a lot of these series have just Damien and Bruce being Batman and Robin. What makes this different?
I'm not reading Detective Comics, but I'm gonna assume that we are going deeper into Damien's
Mm.
train of thought. We're in his like backstory and their relationship. In Detective Comics, I'm assuming that they don't really mess with too much of
Yeah,
their
it's not really
behind the
about
scenes
them.
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um, Personally, I would love for Batman to be Batman, a Batman story, Detective Comics to be a Bat family story, and Batman
yeah,
and Robin to be Batman and Robin. But I'm not making the
that makes too much
decisions.
sense.
Yeah,
That's too logical. You need to stop.
yeah. Um,
No.
Especially with, and I didn't get to read it, but I've been talking mad praise about it. Batman Dark Patterns.
Oh yeah.
Batman Dark Patterns had issue 4 that came out this week, which is the start of a new story. But essentially, what I think Batman Dark Patterns is a Batman series dedicated to mysteries. And they're only like 3-issue mysteries, and they start on a new mystery. And it's the detective part, right? That's why it's called Dark Patterns. It's like the patterns of the clues and whatever. And the story in the first like 3, that first story with the wounded man was so good, and I didn't want to give it a shot because I don't like Batman miniseries, because I'm just like, whatever.
We have
Like
enough
it's
Batman.
always
Yeah.
like some guy from the past, or like his like, I don't know, there's just like a mystery. I don't know. It's just like whatever.
Or he's having conflict with his son.
That's like now, but yeah.
Yes,
I'm just kidding.
absolutely.
Because we were just talking about cliches.
But I like Dark Patterns being like, DC isn't greenlighting ongoings anymore. They start off with miniseries and they just keep extending, right? Like that's what they did with Poison Ivy. It was supposed to be like 6 issues. They kept extending it. Now it's an ongoing. But like DC doesn't want to like pull the trigger on ongoings. So Batman
Yeah.
Dark Patterns, I think, is only slated for like 6 or 7 issues right now. Like 2 arcs. And then hopefully they'll, go further. But I would love for this to be where Batman does his mysteries.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just so much Batman everywhere.
If they serve different purposes, I'm cool with it.
True.
That's my thing. Like Wolverine,
Good point.
same with
That's a good
Wolverine,
point.
same with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
If you have Spider-Man in multiple titles, like make it different types of stories.
Mm.
You know?
No.
What were you gonna say, Ambrosia?
Just especially with, with Spider-Man, just because there's so many, like Spider-Gwen, Ben Reilly.
And they should all have a different
Oh.
vibe, right?
They
Like
should.
each Spider person, each Bat person, each Super person, if you're gonna give them their own series, they need to have a different vibe. We need to know and feel the differences between these characters. Jonathan Kent and Connor Kent should be 2 distinctly different young Superboy type characters. That's the only way longevity works. My problem is Power Girl and Supergirl aren't different enough. And that's my problem.
I don't know. I don't know enough about them.
Power Girl's getting canceled. That's ending soon. Shazam ended soon also, or just recently, last week.
Oh, really?
Shazam ended on issue 21.
Does not surprise me. I read up to like 13 issues and I was like, I'm dropping this. Like it just I'm so sorry to the writer, the current writer that was it, but Mark Waid set up a high bar
Yeah.
with the first like 5 issues, and unfortunately.
Yeah. I want to touch on, only because I'm selfish, the X-Men crossover that's going on right now. So in X-Men comics, there's a crossover event called X-Manhunt, which is one issue of each X-Men series is crossing in, right? It's part of the crossover event. So Professor X has escaped prison and he's going through the different titles, connecting with different people. And so this week, well, the first week, last week, we had 3 titles, part 1, part 2, part 3, and then this week we had 2, which was X-Men 13 and X Factor 8. And it was X-Men first, then X Factor. Ambrosia, did you read it?
I read I didn't read X Factor, but I read X-Men.
Okay. Manny, did you read it?
I dropped it because of this crossover.
Really?
Well, we had the last crossover with
That was not great.
The raid of Galkaman, whatever.
Graymalkin,
and I was like, yeah, and I was like that wasn't great, but it was entertaining enough. And I do like, I was reading X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and I think those are the only 2 X-Men titles that I was reading. But I liked them on their own. And then we got one issue in between, and then immediately into another cross issue where it's like you had to go read all these other titles, and I was like, no, no, thank you. This is obviously like a money grab. I don't care about the other X-Men titles. I don't need to, like, I shouldn't have to enjoy my X-Men titles. I shouldn't have to go into another one to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it happened almost back to back. So I was like, nope, nope. And I'm done with X-Men. Except for Ultimate X-Men. I am reading Ultimate X-Men.
That's fine.
Which has nothing to do with nothing else. So
yeah.
No, and I get that, because that was like my biggest hesitation, because there are so many X-Men titles. And I think that's why I was always so scared to jump into X-Men, because you have to be in the know, in the majority at least. Because like this one follows up with Storm, or from Storm. And so making sure that I'm up to date has been interesting and challenging.
Here's the question, Ambrosia. You read this issue, X-Men 13. Did you read the previous Storm issue?
So I read this one, and then I had to go back and read.
Were you
Storm.
Confused?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I can't blame you.
And then, but also, I have to like stop and think of, is this because it goes along with another current issue, or is this something that I didn't read? Is this deeper lore that I may not just know yet? So sometimes with X-Men titles, I have to like midway through kind of stop and think, what path am I going to go down? Am I going to go onto Google, or am I going to be going into current issues?
I mean, are you asking whether this is like the questions you have are a mystery to everybody, or whether it's backstory you haven't read before?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Which for the most part, it's been like current issue stuff.
Yeah. Because like what's going on with Storm right now is also kind of not a mystery, but like unanswered questions. She's been upped to like a goddess status, and so there's like some things going on in her series. I get not wanting to pick these up. I will say that I do like this crossover event, and I'm anyways reading the titles, but it also makes me I wasn't so sure about the premise, but I liked the premise from the jump, and then I'm gonna read these anyway. But like, imagine if you got them in trades. All the X-Manhunt issues are gonna be in one trade, and I'm sure the different volumes of like X-Men are gonna skip that issue, because that's normally what they do, right? Like it'll be like 2 trades of X-Men, then X-Manhunt, and then they start a new trade of X-Men. And so if you didn't read X-Manhunt, it would just kind of follow from there, right?
No, it's funny that you mentioned that, because no, go ahead.
Oh, no, go for it.
Like it's funny that you mentioned the trade thing because I was just thinking a lot of the books in my pull list in general, I always kind of like give a hard rating for these issues. Like, oh man, like that wasn't satisfying enough for in this aspect or this blah blah blah. But I can already like I can tell that if I read this in one go, if I just saved 5 issues, if I waited 5 months to get all of these books and
It's
read them
not
all
five
at
months.
once.
Well, or it's not 5 months. I
Well,
mean,
no, just in general, like some books are monthly, some books are every 2 weeks or whatever. But in general, like especially my indie books, those are the ones like I'm talking about
oh, I get what you
Transformers,
mean.
Void Rivals.
Yeah.
Those are, monthly books. So if I waited 5 months and I accumulated those 5 books and read them all at once, it would be a much better story and much better experience than, all right, I just read this month and now I have to wait a month. What happened last month? I can't. What? Why did he mention this again? That was like 3 months ago. That was from issue 4, and I'm on issue 8 now, and I do not remember that reference. But if I had read it all in one sitting, so
Well,
like it,
two things.
it
One
just
is you're
it
on this
helps.
show, so at least we get to talk about it and hopefully remember what we talk about.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
absolutely.
Second is, are you the type of person skipping the synopsis? Because I feel like a lot of comics have the written synopsis in the beginning.
I am the type of person that skips
I am
it.
also. So
But I would
I'm.
be like, say,
But here's the thing though. TV shows work like this too, right? It's one episode a week,
yes,
and that's why in the beginning of a lot of TV shows, it's like last time on
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
you know.
and it might be that's the problem because now we got used to binging, and Netflix ruined it for everybody. And so now I'm like, I want it all right now.
I mean,
Give it
and
to me
which is
right now.
totally a valid way to read trades. You
Yeah,
know, like of course, like I used to be almost only trades, and
yeah,
because I couldn't afford comics from the comic shop when I was a kid, I would read any trade that I could get my hands on. So I'm reading 6 issues at a time, right, all in one go.
right.
Uh, you just kind of find the I try to enjoy each issue, but I also try to think how does this issue fit within the context of like a 6 issue arc.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a thin line,
Yeah.
but you just gotta travel it.
I mean, I'm of the mindset that like a writer needs to know that it's going to be released in trade, so write for the trade, but also one issue could mean the difference between someone dropping your series or not. So you still have to make an interesting issue even if it's leading up to something. It's tough,
Yeah.
you know? Ambrosia got tired of your bullshit. She
Yeah. It
pieced
took
out.
off.
So, X-Men 13 is X-Men Hunt. X Factor 8 is the next part. And so what's kind of cool about this crossover event is it's not lasting months. It's 3 issues last week, 2 issues this week, and then what are we on? That's 5 out of 7. So probably 2 issues next week, and then it's over. It's a 3-week crossover event. Like, cool. Like, it's not that bad. It doesn't take you out. You could skip those issues also this month, and next month it'll be back to normal.
And that's what I was wondering too. Like it could be one of those things where you read that issue and it makes sense because you read the storyline. So it's fine. And you don't need to know what like if I'm reading X-Men, I'm not reading X Factor. I don't need to know what's happening in X Factor to understand the story.
Yeah.
But then there might be some times where it's like, wait, well, what is happening? And I understand that's what they want you to do. That's the thing. That it is a money grab of like, hey, now this interests you on this book, and maybe you should start reading that book too.
Right. I'll
And
give you a
I don't
little
need
bit of
that
crack
temptation.
rock for free, knowing that
Yeah,
you'll be back for more later, hopefully.
I don't need the temptation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
um, Last week's episode, Jakey and Aaron were on the episode, and we're all 3 of us are big X-Men fans. So we were talking about the start of this crossover event and how we're all in. And then I come here and it's like, but that makes sense because like everybody's at it from different angles, whether they like the X-Men or not, what they want out of a crossover event, whatnot. But it is what it is.
But I will say that if we're looking at crossover events, I feel like this is the way to go, because like and this is where like I don't know, it's a coin toss, and everyone's gonna have their own different perspective and reason. But if we're going to do a big crossover event, then we should be able to, you should read this to tie into this, because we have those other like events where then there's just like issue ones. What are those called?
Yeah, I do
Omega,
prefer this
the Alpha and
crossover.
Omega
Yeah.
issues, they've been doing that.
Yeah, but
What?
like not like spin-offs, but one-offs.
One shots,
Yeah.
yeah.
One shots,
Yeah.
thank you. Where we'll have one shots. And sometimes I don't want a one shot. I want to know more about like I want more than just a one shot.
I
And so
100% agree.
so like in comparison, I guess I would much rather have um like this crossover where things you have to be reading the
Go into
series
another
through.
title. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
versus just like one shots.
Well, the thing with X Manhunt is also you get two choices. One is you buy all the titles in that order for that month, just a month. You buy all the titles, and sometimes titles you wouldn't normally read, just so you can continue that story. Or you skip all the titles for a month. Like you could piece out of X-Men titles, and not all X-Men. Wolverine, Phoenix, those don't tie in. Like they have their own stories going. And so it's like you just piece out of these titles for like you skip one issue of all these titles, and you don't even have to. Or you buy one issue of all these titles. It's not too bad. It doesn't last for very long. Or
No.
you just tune in. I think what they've been doing with crossover events is doing an alpha and an omega, which an alpha is like an issue 0 of like a crossover event, and omega will end it. And so I think in this they have a X Manhunt Omega. They didn't have an alpha, and I think what that's prepped to do is just kind of like if you didn't do the crossover event, you just read that, and then it shows you the ramifications of what's going to happen through it, right? Like just the epilogue. It's an interesting way.
No, Ambrosia, what you're talking about, what it reminds me of is like I had a whole shelf of just King and Black one shot. Like
Oh my
everything
gosh.
about like it was so horrible. I was like,
Symbiotes.
why do
That's
we
the
need another one?
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I
Yeah, and
definitely
that
prefer this route.
I will say I hated the King of Black one shots because it's literally like Namor underwater with symbiotes, and it's just like okay,
Exactly what it
Yeah.
is.
like yeah, it was
It was so unnecessary. Most of them were so unnecessary, and then some got big for whatever reason, but most of them were not great.
My
Yeah,
worst
so, like-
crossover of the past couple years is DC Night Terrors. Because all the heroes, literally the plot is all the heroes fell asleep. Like which
Stop.
also they pushed off, like Green Arrow was like 2 issues into its new run, and then they were like 3 months later you get like issue 3, and it was like, what? You just started, and then you like
No.
delayed the whole like Green Arrow book, so I was kind of pissed off, but you know it is what it is.
Yeah.
We gotta let's truck through everything else. I don't think there's too many left, but let's truck through whatever we got left. Who read Phoenix number 9? I'm not up to date with Phoenix, but I think I read up to like issue 7. But I didn't read
I wanted to read it. I had it.
Oh, okay.
I started to read it. I'm behind.
But
I've enjoyed the series.
Yeah. I've been loving it actually. It's written by Stephanie Phillips, who's on TikTok. And you know, I don't think she follows me, but I follow her.
Not yet.
Yeah, Stephanie Phillips also writes Ghost Spider, Gwen Stacy's Ghost Spider, whatever.
Mhm.
And then she also writes Grimm.
Oh, okay.
It's the
Grimm
same.
Grimm was all right.
Yeah. So I'm liking this Phoenix stuff. Phoenix versus the Black Order. It makes sense. Like, why wouldn't she beat up like the Black Order? Cool. But yeah, none of us read that.
It's
Okay,
been fun.
cool. Star Wars: The Legacy of Vader number 2. Ambrosia, did you read it?
I did. Yeah. If you like Kylo Ren, and more of like the Darth Vader lore, they definitely check this out. He's trying to like rewrite or erase history of Darth Vader and trying to like still live on. Trying to keep Vader's legacy going. And so he runs into the Hutts and is very quickly humbled
Okay.
by them. So, but yeah, so if you like Kylo Ren, if you're interested more about his like Darth Vader lore aspect of it, definitely give this a go. It's written by Charles Soule, which he has been really great at writing Star Wars books and comics. So
Charles Soule has been going really into Marvel Star Wars stuff, but he wrote 8 Billion Genies, and he wrote
I forgot. He did write that.
He also wrote the run of Daredevil that they're kind of borrowing from for this Daredevil Born Again series. So he wrote that, Blind Spot, Muse, that run. And so, shout out to Charles Soule. Rogue Sun 25. This is a Manny book.
Well, that's definitely a Manny book. I thought it was gonna be my top pick. It's my second pick. It was great. The Rogue Sun is just a great story. It's
We don't
someone's
got much
father.
time, but I'm just
Someone's father just uh handed him this position of, hey, you're a superhero now, and he does the best that he can with it. And this is the third arc of this storyline, this issue 25. And someone else has decided to challenge him to be the Rogue Son, and that's what this is going to be about. And it's someone close to him that he did not expect to take up this mantle. So it's going to be some ups and downs here, but it was good.
Cool.
Great series.
I like the cover, and I like the variant cover. The variant cover is an homage to the first issue of Robin, the Boy Wonder.
Yeah.
And like him popping out of the whatever. Anyway, thought it was cool. Transformers 18.
There's another one. Transformers and Void Rivals. They both deal in this Energon universe that Image is doing. Void Rivals has finally unleashed some plot points of like the mystery behind what this whole world and their conflict is. And Transformers for like the last 5 issues has just been trauma dump of PTSD. These robots have been in a war for a long time. Some of these robots have been tortured and stuff, and so like they're going through this PTSD. And then at the end of Transformers, though, big spoiler, Megatron comes back, and it's just like this. What a badass scene of just, oh, he's back. The king is here or something. And immediately Optimus Prime is like, we got to retreat, we got to go. It's just it's finally setting up to see what's going on with this storyline. But like I said, this last couple issues has just been nothing but like, man, your life sucks. Damn.
I've been liking the series. I think I'm like 1 or 2 issues behind.
You're not if you've read the last 5, then you already. I'm telling you, man, it's just nothing but just sadness in a good way, in an entertaining way. But
I mean,
hopefully we'll see some light.
You want to tell me about Void Rivals?
No, I mean Void Rivals. That's pretty much it. It was just like the reveal of what there's these 2 planets that hate each other, and they don't know why they hate each other. And in this issue, we finally get revealed as to why certain people in charge have been leading the whole hatred against each other instead of unifying. So it was revealing.
Yeah. Is that all the books you guys read? Because I have a couple more that I want to talk about.
Yes, that was everything for me.
So I'm just going to talk real quick. Deadpool number 12. It's the Pools of Blood crossover event just between Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Deadpool. Both of them written by Cody Ziegler. Both of them great series. I don't know whether I like the crossover event, but it is what it is. It is. I mean, the art is great, and like the writing is good. I just don't know whether I need Deadpool and Miles. I don't know whether
that's how I felt.
I don't think I need that team up. So
I like his daughter and Miles.
Yeah.
But
well, they don't like each other though. Did you read this one?
And no, I've been reading the Miles Morales series.
Okay. Yeah. Aquaman number 3, written by Jeremy Adams, who I had the pleasure of meeting at, I think, WonderCon last year. Jeremy Adams is writing Aquaman, and Jeremy Adams is also writing, what else is Jeremy Adams writing? Something else. But the point being is, Jeremy Adams is really good. Jeremy Adams wrote the Jay Garrick Flash series that I really liked, and I bought that in trade also afterwards. This Aquaman it's really getting into the lore. So if you like that sort of, if you wanted Aquaman to be more than just like ocean water stuff, like it's almost like ocean water cosmic on a cosmic level. So there's something else going on, which I thought was cool. One of my best series of this week is Redcoat #10. And I can't recommend this series enough, but it's a very
You have
specific
talked about
vibe.
this last time, and I really wanted to read it.
Manny, have you read Redcoat?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, so Redcoat's from Image Comics from their Ghost Machine imprint, right?
Okay.
And Redcoat is about a Revolutionary War soldier, a British soldier, who is self-serving and arrogant and kind of an asshole, but he gets accidentally gifted with immortality. And he, every time he dies, he wakes up. And he's living through the decades, right? So now he's gotten to Annie Oakley's time. And this is just a one shot. So he classically will meet historical figures and do fantastical things with that. So there's a whole thing of him in the early late 1800s where he meets a young like 13-year-old Albert Einstein who becomes his like sidekick for like the first like 6 issues. So he's just, you see him in different historical periods, teaming up with like famous people like Johnny Appleseed, who has like magic apple seeds. So it's fantasy, but like there's a whole thing. In this issue, though, it was Annie Oakley being like the best sniper in the West, right? Like she was the best shot. And like he's also really good also because he says when you spend 100 years doing anything, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
But he's also an asshole. And he kind of falls for her. And in the end, he's like, would you like a drink? And she goes, would you like a drink, Miss Oakley or whatever? And she's like, Mrs. Oakley, I'm married. Sorry. And then like she leaves. And he's kind of heartbroken. But he's also an asshole too. But you're starting to like him, you know? And so Redcoat has been great. It's meant to be a TV show. Like, I think it needs to be a TV
That
show.
makes sense.
Yeah. And I cannot wait for when this.
Well, the whole time you were talking about it, I was thinking, that sounds like Doctor Who without the time traveling. You know? Like,
kind of, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You know? Green Lantern Corps issue #2. Is this one also Jeremy Adams? Maybe that's what it is. You get some romance between Jon Stewart and Shiera, Hawk Woman. And DC Comics doesn't really focus on Shiera that much because Kendra Saunders is Hawk Girl and she has her thing. And so like because the Hawks have a weird continuity. Anyway, they're kind of borrowing from Justice League, the cartoon, and I'm here for it. I this issue was very Green Lantern to me, and I like it way better without Hal Jordan. So I'm cool with it. Real quick. Helverine #4, Dakin with that Ghost Rider thing. It was one of the first books I read this week, and I don't remember much about it. It's whatever. It's just supernatural horror mixed with Dakin, and it's fine. There's a monster in it. What are you gonna do? Sabretooth, The Dead Don't Talk, issue #4, is about Sabretooth's time in like old-timey New York with the rise of the different gangs. But there's like a vampire gang. There's like a woman who's like Iron Fist, but she's escaped Kunlun. And so like there's all this thing. It's actually pretty cool. It's like Gangs of New York meets Sabretooth. And then last but not least is the finale to Jupiter's Legacy. It's called Jupiter's Legacy Finale, issue #5. And it kind of wraps things up kind of in a cool way, kind of in a, okay, whatever. Gets kind of cheesy and corny at the end with a happy ending, but a lot of people die, but it's a happy ending. Cool. Mark Miller didn't know how to end it, I think.
yeah,
So
that's what it sounds like.
yeah. All right, that's it. That's all the comics that we read this week. Before we get going, Ambrosia, thank you so much for coming on the show. Let me know where you can find you. What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Thank you so much for having me. You can find me on TikTok at Comics and Cupcakes and Instagram on at Ambrosia_Linda. For right now, nothing too exciting, but yeah. What about you, Dimithri?
Don't ask me. I asked the question.
I mean, what about you, Manny?
Yeah, what about you, Manny?
Manny Reads Comics in Instagram, I don't really deal with TikTok anymore or anything really. But nothing coming up. I'm just reading comics.
Yeah.
Manny reads comics.
Well, good thing you got this
I
show.
love it.
You know.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Thank you guys both so much for coming on. If anyone out there is watching us live, you watch us on youtube.com/The Keeg Show or twitch.tv/The Keeg Show. We are now drawing our chat from YouTube because Twitch is putting a cap on the
Oh.
videos we can store. So we got to just switch to YouTube. So YouTube is our main one now, youtube.com/The Keeg Show. If you're listening to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, all those. We're on all those platforms, however you guys listen to your podcasts. Find us. Doesn't matter where you're listening to us, how you're watching us. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review. Let us know you're out there because it's always nice. Shout out to Brent Lloyd, who jumped in the chat earlier on YouTube. Thank you, Brent, so much for stopping by and saying hi. If you want to follow me personally, you can follow me at This Is Dimithri on Instagram. If you want to find out more about me just as a person. But as far as the Keeg is concerned, the Comic Talk is one of the Keeg shows that we do. We do Comic Talk every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, every Thursday night, talking about comics. We also have the Daredevil Born Again After Show that we're doing Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. After new Daredevil episodes drop, you watch it and then you hop in and we talk about the episode afterwards. We also got like the Keeg chats where we talk about different comic creators. There's a new comic that's on a Kickstarter called Frost Road, written by Keith Aram from PCB Productions. And so a lot of things going on, but you can find all the Keeg stuff at The Keeg Show on TikTok and Instagram primarily, but we're also on Blue Sky and all that good stuff. So check us out there. I'm also going to be at WonderCon at the end of this month, and a couple weeks later, C2E2. So Anaheim at the end of March, Chicago beginning of April. So that's a cool thing. That's pretty much it. Thank you everybody out there for watching and or listening. Once again, I'm your host, Dimithri Perera. And this has been another episode of Comic Talk for the week of March 13th, 2025. Take care, everybody. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Super fast, gotta beat the boss and get the loot, cause it's the king, and we got geek news.